Hi, I'm Alexi Old. Welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from the MMA world and beyond. Joining us as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking. We're afraid you get your ass kicked.
Desperado!
Sorry.
I think we need to text some of your teammates there, Eugene, to give you an injection. Are you having some kind of seizure?
I was having a seizure. No, the last song that we had right before I started the show was Desperado, and now I can't get it out of my head.
Is that a Glenn Fry number? Or?
Yes, yeah, he's dead, and the song lingers on. But right before that was Holy Diver. I could have lived with Holy Diver.
Now that's a fine tune. That came on at the rolling rink recently when I was there with my kid, and that jams.
Man, if you have a roller rink where they're playing a Holy Diver, you're in the right town. You know?
Austin, Texas, baby. What can I say? What can I say?
Just don't no jaywalking.
No, none jaywalking.
Of violations and infractions jaywalking.
You see how we do that? We're so fucking pro.
Did we introduce the show?
We did. Yes, we did.
Okay.
It was so smooth, baby. You didn't even
Just-
notice it.
Questions are smoothness, and then we're back to square one.
So, speaking of questions, Eugene, you're the UFC. Jon Jones took to the MMA Hour on Monday for proactive PR management involving a traffic pullover and accompanying police body cam footage from a Thursday night drive which resulted in 5 citations, including drag racing and car modifications. Jones told Ariel Helwani, quote, "I guess I'll talk about it right now before it comes out anywhere else. You can hear it first from me," end quote. With TMZ reporting that, quote, "the incident could be devastating for Jones, who is already on probation for a hit-and-run conviction. He was recently warned not to get any," in caps, "citations," end quote. What PR moves are you making, UFC Eugene, to protect the UFC 197 main event occurring on April 23rd?
You know what? Not to answer the question immediately, not a goddamn thing. And listen, let me explain to you. At first, I'm getting texts. Like there's a canary in a coal mine right here. Early warning, people start texting me. I did go to the hospital yesterday. I'm sitting in the hospital. People go, "Oh, no." I'm getting like 3 or 4 texts about Jon Jones. And I was like, that fucking idiot. God damn you. All you had to do, once they put you on probation, they got you. You gotta Boy Scout it till your time is up. But then I actually sat down, forced myself on the way from the hospital, put on the video, and I could listen to it in the car on the way over. And I have to say that this is a West Coast, East Coast confusion. I tell you,
Oh, man, you're bringing up the West Coast, East Coast.
Yeah, when I was in New York City pre-Giuliani, you know, unless you were running out of a bank with a gun and money flying out of your pockets, the cops didn't do anything. You know, you jump the turnstile, a cop looks at me, he goes, "Come on." I go, "Ah." He goes, "Ah." And then I just go and mind my business. When I came out to California, cops were stopping me like, "Oh, we thought you were lost." "You thought I was lost? Are you doing that for everybody?" As a New Yorker, it makes you kind of paranoid. He hasn't realized where the fuck he is. You're not going to be driving a fucking $80,000 car with fins on. And I tell you exactly what happened. He pulls up to a red light. You know, some guys recognize him. There's hooting and hollering. The stereo's loud. He goes, "Rum, rum, rum." And the light changes. He pulls off just enough to fucking show him that he's got some juice in the engine. And then maybe he sees a car behind him and he pulls over the lane. He doesn't change. He doesn't put the signal on when he changes. And then the cops, whoom, right there. That being said, the first year I was in California, I played it Jon Jones style. The cops would be like, "Why are you so hostile?" I go, "Why the fuck are you stopping me? Fuck this hostility. The issue is why you're stopping me." But after the first year here, what I realized is like, you just shut up. You just sit there. They say, "You know, do you know what was going on?" I said, "I guess I was a little too heavy," or whatever. Or you say nothing. You know, "How you doing?" "Fine." "You know what you did wrong?" "No." "Well, I'll give you a warning this time." "Okay." And that's it. So the PR disaster is not on what he did, but how he handled it, because it shows that he's not ever going to get out of this stuff ever. He's either got to move back to New York or move to a place like LA where the cops would go, "Oh shit, it's Jon Jones. Let me get your autograph and let you go on your way." But the UFC at this point, there's too much money riding on this. But it is a rinky-dink bullshit charge. Fuck that. You know, he shouldn't be fucking driving. That much is certain. But
Driving while bony. It should be, instead of DWB, driving while black, driving while bony.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, he's not driving a fucking Hyundai. You know, he's not driving an SUV. He's, 9 times out of 10, even if the windows are tinted and the cop can't see who's in that car, he's fucking stopping it. He's stopping it because that's what cops are, pattern recognition guys, And then certainly this blue collar guy, once he fucking stops, is going to be like, fuck you. I mean, John didn't bring it up, and I'm glad he didn't bring it up. I'm not bringing up, and nobody brought it up except for you just now. Well, maybe he's being stopped because he's black. I know in New Mexico they tint the fucking windows. That cop is stopping that car every day, all days, every way. If you want to go low profile, you get something fucking monstrous like Josh Barnett has. Looks like a pickup truck on the outside. It's got 600 horsepower on the inside. That's what you drive. But, when you're 17 or 27, you do shit like, I want something with spoilers on the back and cut pipes. All right. Well, get used to this. And now that you've gone publicly calling cops pigs and fucking liars, you lost the sympathy of an audience that would have been sympathetic anyway. O.J. Simpson, for whom this show is named after, sort of, people, the cops that killed racist cops. There were no fucking racist cops. That guy could have beat his wife for fucking months. Those cops in L.A. loved this guy. He's a celebrity. He had hot bitches up at the house. They didn't give a fuck that he was black. They loved that guy,
What do you think, Nate?
Well, I think Eugene's right that the UFC doesn't have a whole lot they can do except get on the phone with Jones and tell him to rent another Camry and stay in it.
Lift, flywheel, do it, baby.
Yes, just stay out of the car. Stop driving your car. That's the only advice I can give to Jon Jones. And publicly, they need to just keep their mouth shut. Although they did, somehow Kevin Iole of Yahoo got the idea to write a whole essay about how this cop was in the wrong. The cop shouldn't have had so much attitude when he pulled Jones over. It's like, this is the Albuquerque Police Department. I mean, they're shooting people on the regular for nonsense. For just being black, they're bad police force. I mean, New Mexico is a real backwater and very corrupt, and Albuquerque is the nexus of all this corruption. And it's yokel with Gun City there. It is a beautiful place. He needs to keep his head down and keep his mouth shut and stay out from behind the wheel. Maybe the UFC can, incentivize him to go somewhere else to train for a little while or put something together for him, get him out of Albuquerque, keep him out of trouble, keep him from behind the wheel. But there's not a lot they can do. Jon Jones is going to Jon Jones.
Man. Well, and looking at my own situation, how long did it take me to wise the fuck up? It took me. I remember John back and forth with the cops straight through my senior year. So I got here in
college?
Yeah, in college. So I got here in 1980. It took me until about 1985 to wise up.
And you weren't rich, and you didn't have brothers who were in the NFL. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
In terms of entitlement and certain kind of status on top of it, the New York dynamic is a really fascinating one. Not being because his brother is like, well, with his brother coming to the West Coast, he has to, I guess, get with the program too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's a strange. Like I said, I heard about people talking about police brutality, and I knew Philly cops back in the 70s were notoriously bad under Rizzo. They just beat you up for any reason,
Or blow up your apartment complex.
Yeah, right. But New York cops notoriously fucking really lenient. But of course, those were the worst days of the city. Giuliani changed all that, And believe me, the policeman benevolence, it was a weird Trojan horse thing. It's like, oh, now we're getting all this respect. We're getting paid more. The mayor's behind us 100%. But then the public turned because these guys were under pressure to produce. But I don't know about New Mexico politics. I just know if you're driving a car like that. I mean, it's like RZA just said, though. He's like saying, okay, if you're a young black youth and you don't want problems, don't wear pants that sag. Wear a fucking suit, And people got on RZA for it. But what he's talking about was protective coloration, And without mentioning the word race. Huh?
What are you, Bill Cosby?
No, I'm not saying I'm not supporting that at all. Wear whatever the fuck you want to wear, but the reality of it is you don't weigh more than Russia.
Yeah, there's something to be said for flying stealth, man. A buddy of mine taught me that back in the 90s, driving around in his Saab with his yuppie suit on. But then he'd have a briefcase just full of contraband. He'd be listening to people's phone calls, had a gun in it, drugs, the whole bit.
Oh, that's when I got stopped on the Panhandle. I'm wearing a suit, 2 miles over the speed limit. The cops would come up to the car, guns drawn. And what now I'm in Oklahoma. It's like 5 o'clock, just as the sun is setting. These guys are creeping up on my car with guns, And they get to the window. I roll the window down. They said, "Can we see your driver's license?" And I say, one word, "Certainly." He hears, "Oh, this is an Obama Negro. This is not a 50 Cent
Carlton
Negro."
Banks.
He fucking put his gun away.
Dance too.
He's like,
I just
"Well,
listen to some
sir."
music.
Yeah, he says, "Sir this
Urkel.
and sir that." And they fucking let me go. He said, "Be careful. This is a dangerous road." "Oh, thank you very much." And of course, I should have been arrested immediately, for a variety of things which we shall not mention in a public forum. But anyway, it's just.
So the fine tradition of non-threatening Negroes, Urkel, Carlton Banks, right? Like tap into that
but
kind
I was
of
still at the time,
cultural zeitgeist.
I was still 245, and I still had hair like I had. I think I had no mustache, but it was certainly that got him, and. And that maybe the suit as well. But the thing is, it's a free republic, man. You want to call a cop a fucking pig and a fucking liar? It's up to you, baby. You lose a penny. There's a guy I know who's a black guy. He's a black cop, and I'm talking to him about it, and I was like, the fucking pigs, and he recoils, and I realized, this was the equivalent of me calling him a nigger. That suddenly I call him, and I go, fuck, I'm sorry, man, and I apologize. I mean, his identification as a cop overrode any kind of he would have been more okay with the N-word blast than me calling him a pig. And it's like, these are just different outcroppings, fraternities, man. The guys that they're making, not minimum wage, but, fuck it. I don't know why he stopped them. But, once you get stopped, you got to realize you don't weigh more than Russia. Play it straight. You want to call your lawyer afterward, that's fine. But you're not going to get anywhere John at him. But the UFC, I think, is smart enough to realize this is a bullshit charge. And it is.
Well, here's the thing. You talk about not weighing more
Yeah.
than... Here's the thing. You talk about not weighing more than Russia. Your GSP. With the echo. With stepped-up UFC drug testing in place. Your ringside appearance at UFC 196 and Renzo Gracie telling Ariel Helwani that after seeing you recently, quote, "For sure he'll be announcing soon to be back in the game," end quote. Is it better for your brand to return to the octagon? And if so, what is the best path to maximize value?
Who are you asking?
Nate.
Well, I mean, I think that GSP going back to the UFC makes good sense for him. He's under a long-term contract. I don't think there's any chance of having a free agent bidding war or any of that stuff. He's held out for a long time. He's gotten recovered. He's made his points. And there's opportunity there. The UFC that, Connor's been dinged, Ronda's been dinged badly and might not come back for a long time. They could use a big GSP fight. And GSP needs to not get sucked into the title chase. He needs to get sucked into the money fight chase. This is a great time to put on GSP versus Anderson Silva. When Nick Diaz comes back from suspension, book GSP versus Nick Diaz in a rematch, stuff like that. Money weight fights. That's what GSP needs. Any kind of freak show stuff they can put on that's a good fight, good for his brand, he should do that. But he does not need to be getting in there trying to fight Robbie Lawler, Roy McDonald, any of those cats. Like, there's no need to kill himself. Just get out there, do some good fights against guys in similar spots that are kind of senior league, make some money, play it cool. But the thing is, the UFC, they don't seem to like GSP so much, and I've never really understood that. And why they were so shitty to him after that Hendricks fight at UFC 171, I still don't know. There still could be considerable hard feelings there. That's the X factor.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna voice what's possibly an unpopular opinion. Now I got the echoes passed around to me. But I'm gonna say that I'm not interested in seeing GSP fight at all. I think these latter-day conversions. I think that these comebacks are never fucking successful. Name one that's been successful, where the guy goes away and comes back, and you're like, oh my God, now I remember why I missed him. Because it's like the monkey's paw. If you remember that's the Malay story. I think it was Malay who wrote it. He's gonna come back, but he's not coming back the same guy. He's not coming back. What is with the fingers thing? I'm sorry. I see Nate giving me doing fingers. he's not coming back as the early.
That's the monkey's paw. The monkey's paw holds up the number of wishes you have.
Yeah, 3 wishes. I think he's coming back the later day GSP, and since it is not entirely clear to me why he left, I'm not sure that he won't leave again. Therefore, putting money on him as a horse that I'm going to invest a lot of emotional energy and space behind. Yeah, so he's got the jungle is against him. The hoi polloi, the peanut gallery is against him. I think he just got. I think he just got to a position where, like, it's a bad place to be, where it's like, what else am I gonna do? Right. Yeah. Movie roles are thin and far between. You don't have a shooting schedule that lasts more than fucking 3 months on a movie unless it's a different type of movie. 3 months is a long shooting schedule. So that means 9 months of what? Disco parties, hanging out.
Do you think
with
you should
friends?
just tease it then? Tease the return? Like show up once in a while when you get
gotta
bored?
do something, man, to sexify it. You gotta do something, because right now I'm not. I see him sitting there. Did you see what the audience did? Did you see that?
What?
I'm looking at the applause meter, and it flashes on him. I thought it was a lukewarm reception. I thought it was lukewarm. There's no. Wow. I mean, I know a few women who are sitting at home going, "Oh, we want him back." But
that could be the miking. That could be the mics in the arena. I mean, you don't know.
It doesn't matter if the production truck. I know that they're screwing with the audio. Sometimes if the boos are too intense, suddenly the levels drop. The guy who's doing the live sound on that is riding that shit all the way. So whether the UFC brought down the applause or whether the applause was indeed lukewarm, it says the same thing to me. He's going to have. We don't know his reasons for leaving. He's going to have a compelling reason and narrative to come back. But
he claimed it was a drug testing initially. I think that's what it was. And he said, "I'll come back I'll come back one day."
Yeah, you know what? That's unsatisfactory. And the UFC, first and foremost, the bald one, I think, is a fight fan. It's unsatisfactory for me as a fight fan. It's got to be unsatisfactory for him because we don't know why he left. Therefore, we don't know why he's coming back. Therefore, we don't know if he will leave again. You just can't. I agree with Kid Nate. If you're going to fight any kind of fight that he's going to fight that I'd take seriously, would have to be a show fight. And by a show fight, I mean without serious title implications. Yes, finally Anderson Silva, essentially MMAARP, Anderson Silva, Nick Diaz, guys who are not looking at holding any straps anytime soon, entertaining, and forcing him into an early GSP fight. That would be ideal.
Nate, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ken Shamrock's back, and he's probably available after the Bellator.
People see him doing a rap to Rizzo.
You know what you
did? Hey, baby, you hooked me up, baby. I got it bad, Methadone, it's a killer.
I don't know. I think everybody's loving Hoist and Ken being back. It's just like old times again,
the people I know, I'm the only one talking shit about it. And in actual fact, I was the one who floated the MMAARP thing. But everybody else was.
Now you've learned your lesson.
Boy, it'll be fun. I go, we have different ideas of fun, natural fun.
Well, speaking of different ideas.
I just called up the Tom Tom Club. I don't get anything? Come on. Tom Tom Club, baby. Fun.
Nobody cares about the Tom Tom Club, Eugene.
Well, something that a lot of people care about. Eugene, you're the UFC. Let's go back to you, UFC Eugene. After years of waiting, you finally announced Chris Cyborg's debut at UFC 198 in a catchweight fight. You don't have a 140-pound division, but I assume you have a plan. What is it?
Oh, well, you know what? This is one of those, it hurts so bad type of scenarios. Because, I was thinking that, man, that she was out there, lost battalionized. And it was like the best lost battalion ever because she had no reason to be aware that she was lost. Usually, a lost battalion situation, Junior Dos Santos was a prime one where you got pasted twice in a row and then you're suddenly like, I guess not twice in a row, but you got pasted in a definitive fashion and you're like, my next fight, she did nothing to believe that she was like the Spanish Inquisition, sometimes the Lost Battalion strikes and you're fucking nowhere. Ronda had never had any intention of fighting that woman ever, even if she came down in weight. So it's like she's just floating out in the mist. But like I said, on Knuckle Up, you can be called out of the Lost Battalion. You will never find your way out, but you can be called out. I don't know whether it was Leslie Smith that called her out. I don't know whether it was like, okay, the groundwork is shifted. Ronda will kind of do what we say now. Maybe this is a fight that's got some sort of juice, as a preliminary. Or better yet, her and Holly, which has got a lot of juice if they align along the way. I think she's back in because she's useful to the bald one. And but make no mistake, if you expect to see her at any point enter a cage against Honda, that's never going to happen. I firmly believe at this point that will never happen.
What do you think, Nate? What do you think the plan is?
I think it's Miesha Tate and Holly Holm that have brought her back in. Not so much them asking for it or wanting it, but the fact that the UFC is now looking at a situation where they don't have a dominant superstar. They don't have the Ronda hegemony reigning over the division anymore. But now they've got Holly Holm and Miesha Tate, neither of whom is a superstar, but both of whom have big followings and have had some media attention. Now you've got Cyborg in the mix, and you got kind of Ronda in the mix too. So you got a mix, and Cyborg adds to the mix. I see the 140-pound fight as a stepping stone to a 135-pound fight for her next fight, or maybe the fight after that, and or do a catchweight fight. I mean, I think they're seeing with what's going on in Strikeforce and the ratings they got for Kimbo Dada 5000 and the success of Conor versus Nate Diaz, that this is a spectacle business, and they don't need to be so slavish with the sports and the title hunt. So let them fight.
And the reality of it is,
catchweight, whatever.
And the reality of it is, now you have 3 people in a top-heavy division who are actually willing to fight.
Yes.
You don't have this, Joe Strummer, shall I fight or shall I not thing that Honda was, her Hamlet act. You don't have that anymore. And you don't have that even with her anymore. That's not, you don't, like 50 Cent said in the movie, I guess you forgot where you are. You're not calling any fucking shots. You lost Roadhouse. You got time on your hands. Fucking train. I got an amusing Honda text here. And the thing is, I know we don't want to fat shame people, but
come on, man.
But I'm gonna read it to you. He says, I can't find it. Never mind.
Well, you talk about fat shaming. There was a photograph of her that was on Media Takeout, and it was a side shot, and it was like, on the heels of Ronda Rousey's mother mentioning that they are part black, that they have a famous African American, grandfather. Like, look at that badonkadonk! Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that!
But you knew that was coming. You knew that was coming.
That was all over. Like, so, in terms of fat shaming, some people, we're looking at something going on.
You can see cover under the whole Negro thing. But here's what the guy said. He goes, "Can Ronda afford to live the rest of her days on what she's made? I mean, we're probably talking a minimum of 20 trips to Golden Corral a week, and she's only 30."
Man.
Oh, that's not just fat shaming, that's white trash hating. I mean,
man. Well, hey, but she's not white, so.
Exactly.
One drop, that's right.
If Dada 5000 is hard as chock full of Kool-Aid and chicken, according to Joe Rogan, the guy's heart stopped. Soda, Joe Rogan, that's a tough audience, man.
Speaking of tough audiences.
The guy's already on record attacking Lydia Lunch. Where does it stop?
Lord.
I'll
tell you one place where it didn't.
What?
Never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alexa.
Microsoft, Nate. You're Microsoft. Your developer has created Tate, an AI model to speak, quote, like a teen girl, end quote, in order to improve the customer service on their voice recognition software. You marketed her as, quote, the AI with zero chill, end quote. But after the internet's got a hold of her, she ended up tweeting racist...
The guy from Microsoft, just as you said that, he fled.
Anti-Semitic, sexist vitriol. Does this fast and very public failure demand version 2.0, or is it better for your brand to move on to other projects and let someone else create Skynet?
I think they just roll this right into the Windows 10 confab they're having. I think Tate should come on your computer when they override you and force you to install Windows 10 and just say, the Holocaust never happened, bitch, and here you got some Windows 10. Eat it. That's what Tate should do. Just tweet away, you know, like some N-bombs and F-bombs and C-bombs, the whole bit, like, you know, and they know who you are so they can target the slurs. Just really go all in. That's what I think that is.
So they can, instead of blaming gremlins, they blame like some ethnic group for whatever virus you have or whatever kind of slowdown or
Oh, that would be great. That would be fucking great. Those subhumans. Catch them subhumans.
It was greedy bed gobblers.
You just hired this guy, Tyrone Johnson, last week, and look what happened.
That's what happens. No, I always, my favorite portion of racism is the knowing nod. You know, like okay, somebody cuts you off in traffic. It could happen. It happens every day. I'm driving with a friend. He's zooming up. I'm assuming he's zooming up to get next to the guy to give him the finger. He zooms up next to the guy. He looks, sees that the guy is Asian, and looks at me and goes, uh-huh. That's it. That's it. Yeah, no. If he was out, you know, and a friend of ours was walking and says, oh, look, a quarter, and picks it up, this is the same guy that would look at me and go, Rosenthal picked up a quarter. I got it. So it's the knowing, it's suddenly having a worldview that's confirmed, but, you know, the worst kind of worldview that's confirmed. That's such a tasty, delicious part of racism, like Dave Chappelle when he's talking about, man, I can't eat. This made me a paranoid. I'm suddenly eating chicken, and I know guys are looking at me going, look at him. Yeah, no, I like the knowing nod. But, yeah, no, Microsoft has made so many errors over the years, starting with the CEO being Gates somehow thinking that his buddy Steve Ballmer was suitable for running the company. Or you could go back even further if you're a purist to, you know, some of the shit software that they sold, you know, back in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, does this surprise anybody? It's what they do. You know, this thing was rushed to fucking market. The ramifications were thought. They probably had a bunch of bullshit meetings, and somebody said, or recently, the CEO going, if you want to raise, if you're a woman and you want to raise this company, just keep your mouth shut and maybe you'll get a raise. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. You know, and I have to think Bill Gates is a pretty smart guy. Is this accidental? It can't be accidental. It cannot be accidental, which means then it's purposeful. What purpose does it serve? Well, you know what? He'll always be king until there's a prince, and there's no prince at Microsoft, you know.
Man.
That is a deeply paranoid view, but maybe it's right. I think Gates is more of an idiot who got extremely lucky. He's an opportunistic idiot.
I love those CEOs, man. Cynical opportunists, I love.
Yeah,
believers make me nervous.
Do you like cynical opportunist comedians, Eugene? Because you are Katt Williams.
Got it.
2 weeks ago, you got beat down by Beanie Siegel. A week later, you sucker punched a 17-year-old who replied with a takedown and chokehold. You responded by challenging anyone who thinks you got choked out by a strong teenager to give you a try. Is this a 21st century Andy Kaufman move or just a comedic cry for help?
It's a comedic cry for help, man. Yeah, no, it's a comedic cry for help. Even though I have to say I respect the way he dealt with it way more than I respect what Danzig did before getting knocked out by Danny and Mariano. I was over at Danzig's fucking PR person's house like 2 days after it had passed out somehow on her couch. I don't know how this happened, but it happened, and I wake up and she's rushing around answering phones, and I go, "What are you doing? What's happening?" She goes, "Oh, Danzig," and she goes, "He was a fortune hunter, Danzig." Correctly, she's like doing his PR thing on the fly. He figured this guy was out for money, so he would just take the shot. Anybody who's thrown a punch or had a punch thrown at them knows that was the last thing that happened. These calculations are not made that fucking fast. The guy got fucking knocked the fuck out. In this case, Katt was like, "Oh, you just open yourself up for another 6 months of WWE. Are you fucking crazy?" Yeah. What you got to do is like what Pee Wee Herman did, get caught jerking off in the theater, goes on David Letterman 3 days later, goes, "Heard any jokes lately? Haha, that's money, Pee Wee." Done. Over, done. He loses the show, but now he's got a new Netflix movie. It took 10, 15 years but whatever. Katt Williams trying to, oh, try me. Oh, if you think that kid, oh, I played soccer. I played soccer all day. I was tired. Shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You got pasted. You know, you should have worked on your ground game. Stop fighting. You know, and the reality of it is he lost. Anybody who's grown up on the streets, in the hood, knows that the first guy to take the fucking swing loses, you know? That's why I learned the fucking fight, because guys would be jawing at me, and I'd be jawing back and forth. I go, oh, yeah? That's why your mother juggles my nuts in her mouth. Boom! The guy flips out, cracks you, you know? He loses. Even if he knocks me the fuck out, he loses because he lost his temper. He couldn't take it, you know?
What about you, Nate?
You know, I'm losing everybody's audio, but I'm going to keep talking. Katt Williams needs to stop fighting. He needs to stay at home and settle down. Quit smoking crack or taking pills or whatever you're doing. Calm down, Katt. Get some help, maybe. If you have friends left, talk to them. Maybe move somewhere else. If you've got a relative you can go stay with, get the help you need and stop throwing punches, Katt.
So he shouldn't take jiu-jitsu. It's Conor McGregor.
He might need about 1,000,000 years. I think Katt's a little too old.
Well, also, you cross the fucking line, man. You're like, we're not laughing with you, Katt. Now we're laughing at you. Yeah. And that's not a good look for a fucking comedian. No way. Tom Sizemore can get away with being laughed at as he does crack in hotel rooms with prostitutes and then films it and puts it online, you know. But Tom Sizemore's a fucking actor. You don't expect much from him, you know.
Well, someone that people expect much from is the subject of our teachable moment, and I'm directing it your way, Nate. Your presidential hopeful, Hillary Clinton. After Bernie Sanders crushed you in 3 states last weekend, his campaign called you, quote, a weak frontrunner, end quote. Bernie's advisor, Tad Devine, told reporters Monday that his, quote, essentially 97% of her delegate lead today comes from those 8 states where we didn't compete, end quote. As far as the damage that Sanders' protracted campaign will cause to you in the general election, he told the Business Insider, quote, it's not going to get so nasty that we can't put the party back together, end quote. Can we take comfort that you will abide, or is it time to raise some hill and let Sanders feel a different kind of burn?
Well, first off, Hillary's not a presidential hopeful. She's a presidential expectant. She's a president in waiting. And so she's not hearing this hopeful crap. And she's annoyed with Sanders, but this kind of late in the primary momentum, she was beating Obama towards the end of their primary in state after state. She knows the static. She knows the noise. Bernie can't hurt her right now. If Bernie attacks her, that probably hurts him more than it hurts her. If she attacks Bernie, it's going to hurt her more than it hurts him. She needs to stay cool, play the long game, keep counting her delegates, let Bernie have his fun. She needs to ignore this pressure to debate him in New York. There's a lot of pressure to debate in New York. Her line of, if he plays nice, we'll debate in New York. She needs to shut up about that and be like, we're not debating. Nobody cares. If you don't have a debate, you can't lose a debate. And there might be some static about, oh, she's not debating. She said she'd always be ready for a debate. Forget all that. Just write it out. You know, you don't want to lose New York. You don't want to lose California. The fewer debates you have, the lower your chances of that happening are. So just lay low, ride this out, wait it out. You're going to get your nomination. Be cool. You're probably going to be elected, and then you're going to have all the fun of getting to be the president of a failing empire. So look forward to that.
What about you?
Well, my favorite part of this whole thing is that she gets perilously close to Susan Lucci, you know? I mean, the thing is, if she seems like, oh, it's a done deal, it removes the temptation. Like, okay, going into California, you know, if it's a done deal, then I will truck myself off to the polling station and I'll pull a lever or blacken the box for her. Go, man, you know, I don't feel super passionately about it, but you know me, I'm voting for a winner, man. I'm standing there with the big guy against the little guy. I don't give a shit. But if it looks like suddenly like I'm within strike, that I could deliver a Susan Lucci moment, which is her sitting at the Emmys 18 times in a row, expecting to win and not winning, oh man, I would deliver a Susan Lucci moment. And I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I could jump on the winning nuts and at the same time deliver misery to another human being, man, that would be too glorious to avoid, even for me. And realistically, you know, the number of errors that she's made has led me to believe that, and that bill is now making. I know you got to put some light between you and Obama, but if their narrative in that campaign has been, we stand with Obama, how come Bernie can't stand with Obama? And then suddenly Bill breaks wild and says, the last 7-8 years have been a complete catastrophe. Which part exactly? Passing the health care bill that you tried to pass, it couldn't pass? What are you talking about? So that you're either lockstep with the campaign or you're doing some rogue shit. In either case, you know, do I really want another 4 years of Clinton fucking bumbling, mumbling, stumbling, Vince Foster, Jack, fucking email Jack? Do I want this constant continual? Look, Mitch McConnell will be more than happy to have her as president. Is that what I want? Or do I want some guy who's going to piss on everything? I don't know. I want a guy who's going to, I want somebody who's going to win, but first and foremost, but she's got to get a little bit more light between her and Bernie for me, who's like California primary is June 7th, for me to feel like voting for her is a sensible thing to do, you know?
Man.
I know, it's a shitty place to be, but you know, like a lot of other people who are in shitty places, it's a place that she put herself. You know.
Well, here's a shitty place, a really shitty place for our curveball, Eugene. You're the unnamed ex-wife of alleged Egypt Air hijacker Saif el-Din Mustafa. Your ex strapped on fake explosives and held hostage flight MSR-181, which had been en route from Alexandria to Cairo, and forced into Cyprus. At some point during the crisis, he allegedly asked to speak to you. How do you handle the inevitable PR that will come your way from what has been referred to not as an act of terrorism, but an act of stupidity?
I think you go Gloria Swanson, man. I think you got to go Gloria Swanson all the way. You know, I don't know how he was, and then this is your fucking moment. There's a fighter who I will not name, Kung Lee, and he got really badly beaten by Vanderlei Silva, Kung Lee, and his wife, you know, elbows her way into the cage, and she's like tending to him, and the first thing she says, oh baby, are you okay? And then she turns around and looks at the camera. Ding! Like, this is my moment, you know. If you're that guy's wife, I don't care what you say, but you got to say something, and you got to look fabulous saying it. You rush off, get your hair done, get your nails done, get some fancy fucking clothes, and you take his stupidity. You've been handed this thing, and you say, I don't know why he's so in love with me. I can't figure out. You become this kind of femme fatale. You get your 15 fucking minutes, parlay that into a TV show, a perfume line, everything, a restaurant, everything. This is your time, baby, and it was handed to you by this dummy.
What do you think, Nate?
I can't add to that. That was PR perfection, really. The only thing I can say is, like, think of yourself as a minor character in a Coen Brothers movie when the spotlights hit. You know, just play to them.
Well, it's that time again for Eugene's Lost Battalion / Major Tom / Dark Star / Phantom Tollbooth. Eugene, are there any new members?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and it's not even an MMA, because the MMA thing is usually contingent on a fight happening where you could kind of see. So, you know, I mean, I'm still wondering where RDA is. I don't know where he is. That fucking foot cost him a lot. But I'm going to say something. I don't even know if it's controversial, because it seems to me like, where's Waldo? Where's Ted? Ted? Anybody? Ted Houston?
Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz, because let me tell you something about National Enquirer. I got a call once from National Enquirer asking to confirm or deny the existence of something that I had published in the Birth of Tragedy magazine back in 1987. Their fact-checking is fucking... If they're saying stuff like Elvis's baby was born out of a watermelon, okay, that's bullshit. But this is not maligning anybody or slandering anybody. You know, Elvis's estate is going to say, look, Elvis is dead and never had sex with a watermelon besides that. You know, look, okay, if it's about a real person who's actively engaged, you know, and like the Donald said, well, you know, they were right about John Edwards. They're right about this. They were right about that. I, for a fact, know this was maybe 2002. If they, in Florida, tracked me down to get me to confirm or deny, it was about Anton LaVey and his connection, who was the head of the Church of Satan, his connections to maybe it was Sammy Davis or something. I printed up an interview with him, and he was talking about his friendship with Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and they were asking for. They tracked me down. This is pre-internet. Free cell phone. They found me. I guess so. It would have been 1996, maybe 7. So they say 5. You know what? Why is Ted been so fucking quiet? He said this is sleazy gutter tripe, and then total fucking silence. Why? Because if you think it's not true, you're really fucking wrong. And they know they can't hide behind Roger Stone saying it, so they had to have fucking proof. They call that woman out on CNN. This is not accidental, man. You know, this is one of those things, smoke, fire, yeah, I got you. So if you think Ted is still the credible candidate, the alternative, the true conservative, that shit's done. He's done. He is now my next fight, there is no next fight. Why was your wife wandering by the fucking highway at midnight? Why? Why was she sobbing in public? Why? These are questions that people want to know. You should have thought of that.
Inquiring minds would like to know.
Picture, the naked guy, the guy's naked wife. You know, I mean, you opened yourself up, man. It was perfect jujitsu. You can't take something that everybody knows and try to capitalize on something that everybody knows for political gain and then back up and say, I didn't do it. Who does it keep bono? Who benefits? You know, so in this instance, he got everything that was coming to him, and he's a dead man. He's dead. Gone. Finished. Yeah. Done. My next, you wait till Wisconsin, baby, I'm coming back. No, you're not. You know, because you know what Trump did? He walked over to the edge of the pool and he pissed in it. Okay? He may not be there to piss in it later, but you know there's Trump piss in that pool. You get in that pool. You get behind Cruz knowing that in September there's going to be some tearful mistress saying, yeah, okay, I thought it would help his campaign. Nobody likes this guy, and there's a reason for it, you know. And if Tiger Woods couldn't keep this shit quiet, broke-ass Ted is not going to keep it quiet either.
Man. And also, especially when you consider the whole thing about they're angling against Clinton. So that's totally going to say, wait a second.
Yep. Yep. Well, let's talk about Monica Lewinsky, Mr. Five-timer. That's what somebody said. That somebody may have been Kid Nate. I don't remember. But somebody said he's more aligned with Bill than we ever wanted to think. Because I kind of said, I made the comparison to John Edwards. And maybe it wasn't Nate. So somebody else was talking to John Edwards. And the guy said, no, not John Edwards. Bill.
Bill. That's right. Man. Hillary, why was Bill looking for someplace else to keep his cigar moist? Huh?
And then Hillary says, I don't know. Let's ask Ted why a man would do that. Fuck, man. Fuck. It's like somebody said, you suddenly can't use an arm bar. Whatever reason. You can't use an arm bar, you're done.
Man.
Do I get disagreement or do I get concurrence on this? Ted is done.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong, but it's hard to argue.
Yeah. All right. Would you leave your wife alone with Ted Cruz?
Oh God, no! I don't think anybody would stay alone with Ted Cruz. That's the thing.
Ted Cruz might have some game that we haven't seen, you know. He puts on some Barry White.
I hear he's good at Xbox, but that's all.
That'll get him to tell you, "Go fuck yourself."
Man. So speaking of go fucking yourself, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at Kid Nate, at Alexiol. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene. And leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com, and be sure to check out all 3 of us on Amazon.com.
I got my sexy Evel Knievel story up today on Ozzy.com.
We'll be back next week.
Shaking hands with you going, my, your skin is so soft.
We'll be back next week with another installment, If I Did It. We don't know what we'll be discussing yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.